So then you eat a couple of teaspoons of sugar, but it doesn't get to the cells. And now you've got high blood sugar. And high blood sugar becomes an acid that can cause damage to the brain and to the eyes and to the nerves. So your body's desperately trying to keep blood sugar levels low. And chronically high blood sugar actually damages the body. And there's foods, the pasta will convert right into sugar. White bread, and all of your enriched breads, even brown bread today, whole wheat bread, when you go to the store, if it doesn't say whole grain, it's enriched. And enriched means they've refined it, they've ground it, and they've taken the fiber out of it. It will just dissolve in your mouth. Anything that kind of dissolves in your mouth, that means there's no fiber in it. And suddenly the carbohydrate becomes very concentrated and goes right into your bloodstream and rises up. The reason the PGX had helped you is because PGX has it's a fiber called konjac root, which is also very popular in Europe. It started in Asia. The Buddhist monks, and to this day, they have noodles, but they have konjac noodles. And these are very fibrous noodles that are viscous in their nature. And viscous means it absorbs water. So if you eat some of these noodles, and people can buy them, if you go to Chinese supermarkets, and most towns have them, and ask for konjac noodles, you can have those noodles, and they won't cause your blood sugar to spike. They stabilize your blood sugar, even if you're eating other carbohydrates. It's not that you can't have any, it's just you have to be very, very moderate about it.
Let's spend some more time when we come back, John, about these hormones and what you can do to fix that. Venus on Fire, Mars on Ice. He also has the DVD series of the same name. I'm George Norrie, back in a moment. Let's go through hormones and talk about the difference again now between men and women, and just what are they? What are hormones?
Well, hormones are very important messengers in the body, and they're very, very powerful. When a hormone like oxytocin gets produced, it just calms a woman's body. For man, it can put him right to sleep and take away a sex drive. That's actually what happens at the time of climax, is that oxytocin gets released, and the woman, her whole body is regenerated, rejuvenated. And for man, it has a calming effect, but so calming that it puts him to sleep and also lowers his testosterone. Testosterone is a hormone that's critically important for a man's body. It does all kinds of signaling for health, but its main function is it gives you faster reaction time. Most people misunderstand testosterone. They think it's associated with men's aggression. Actually, testosterone is not men's aggression. It's estrogen, the female hormone. When men are in danger, their testosterone levels spike too high, so they can run faster and react faster and so forth. And when testosterone levels spike too high, then there's a protective mechanism, and testosterone is turned into estrogen, which is not good for men to have high estrogen, and it actually can make men become quite mean. The typical grumpy old man syndrome that we see as quite commonly as men get older is because their testosterone levels are actually getting lower and their estrogen levels are getting higher.
When some of these wrestlers and people like that go on steroids and they become very aggressive, very mean, is that affecting their hormone balance too?
Okay, well, first of all, the steroids are basically, they're creams that have testosterone in them. And the problem with taking any of these creams that have testosterone, or for women they take the progesterone and estrogen creams, the problem with this is that there's side effects, inevitable side effects down the road. And on the boxes of these hormones, they basically say, we do not know what their outcome will be.
Right.
It's just not, but we do know with steroids very clearly, because they've been around a lot longer. Men were taking steroids. And what you see happening is, for example, the gland that makes testosterone in a man's body is the testicles. Well, they will begin to atrophy and shrink with the use of steroids. Also, the body will begin to break down much, much faster. And men who've used these testosterone hormones, they do become aggressive, because when they take testosterone, it spikes it way too high. It does create huge muscle mass. But then it converts into estrogen, so they go bald, and they become aggressive, and they become mean and grumpy. Those are all the side effects of testosterone converting into estrogen. And then the testosterone levels take a dive, and they get lower and lower. And then it's ironically, it's the low testosterone that also creates prostate swelling in men as they get older. Low testosterone is always associated with prostate cancer in men. So, this is, we don't want to mess with these hormones, and too many well-meaning doctors are prescribing testosterone to men because you will feel immediately your libido will come back, you feel alive, you feel energized, but then it starts becoming too much, and you start getting grumpy and irritable, your body starts breaking down faster, or if you take too much all at once, you'll become very aggressive and unhappy.
Right. So you can be too low and you can be too high, right?
Exactly. Everything's about the matter of balance. Naturally, men today are too low. This is what's happening worldwide, and what's causing that is there's a few very basic factors here. One is that when you eat meat and chicken, which are good testosterone builders, particularly meat is a good testosterone builder, until they decided to start putting estrogen in the cows.
Right.
When they put estrogen in the cows, people think, well, that just made the cow fat. But actually it goes into humans and has the same effect on us. Estrogen is a fat-storing hormone, so we put on more weight when we take estrogen. But also, estrogen lowers testosterone in men and in women, so it can cut off a woman's libido as well. And women have some testosterone, and that's what's responsible for their libido. So when women have low libido, they have both low testosterone and low oxytocin. Oxytocin creates a sexual response that allows women to enjoy it. It's testosterone that makes them want it. And so they're wanting to, we want to make sure that there's natural ways for people to increase their testosterone and their other hormones.
How do you know if your hormonal balance is out of whack or not?
Well,
what are the tests?
Okay, here are the tests. Well, you can go get tests. They have what's called serum tests. They do blood tests. Those are really not accurate. And then there's saliva tests, which are way more accurate in terms of what your body's really utilizing in terms of the hormones. And you can get those tests. They're not really always so accurate unless you have a baseline. You get them when you're younger, then you get them when you're older, and you can see how you've changed. I personally don't believe any of the standards that they have out there because there's so much controversy where so many people say ours are right, yours are right, and so forth. But you can certainly, if you're younger, I had my testosterone tested in my early 30s. So I know what they were in my 30s. And then at 58, I just had them tested again just to see how I'm doing. I actually have testosterone levels 25% higher than when I was in my 30s.
That's a good thing,
That's
right?
a really good thing. That's not the norm that you'll see out there. I don't take testosterone at all. But for me, it was a matter of the first thing is learning to balance blood sugar. And we covered that before. We talked about PGX helps the body to balance blood sugar because every time your blood sugar fluctuates, it causes your adrenal gland to spike cortisol. And every time you spike cortisol, your body stops making the good hormones and goes into the emergency hormones. So literally you start experiencing stress causes deficiencies in hormones. But blood sugar is one aspect of it, but another aspect of it is realizing that because we've been under so much stress, our adrenal gland is exhausted, and there's very simple ways to increase adrenal function.